So today I'm going to share with you my reading plans for the third quarter of 2025. This is my TBR video. I just do one of these one per quarter. And in this video I'm going to give you 20 books that I think I'll read in the third quarter. I break it down into 10 definites, 5 probablys, 5 maybes, but chances are I'll read most of these. In the first 2 quarters of the year, of the 20 books in each of those videos, I read 18 from each. So even if a book's on the maybe, there's a strong possibility that that's one of the things that I'll be talking about in the coming months on the channel. So let's go ahead and get started with the definites. 5 of the 10 are buddy reads, starting with Blind Sight by Peter Watts. This is the inaugural read of the Fireside Book Club. And what is the Fireside Book Club, you may ask? Well, I was inspired by my friends in the Quilluminati, and I loved watching them. Every quarter they read something together, and I thought this might be fun, so I wanted to start something like that myself. So I reached out to Matt and Joanna, my co-owners of the Fireside Discord, and Evie, who's our moderator, and said, hey, would you guys be interested in doing kind of a book club per quarter where we read something together and then have a discussion on one of our channels? And they love the idea, and we're getting started in July with Blind Sight. Blind Sight is a work of science fiction. It's a first contact story. Reading the blurb, it sounds like there's some very interesting characters and an interesting take on this. So I look forward to reading this and then talking with them about it. I think we're going to have the live discussion on Joanna's channel either at the end of July or sometime in early August, so you can look forward to that. So if you want to read along with us, please join us. We're looking forward to doing this. Once again, we'll be doing this one per quarter, starting with Blind Sight in July. So the next 3 books are books that I'm buddy reading with John from Talking Story. We had talked about reading The Long Price Quartet by Daniel Abraham together, and we got started in June. We read the first book together, A Shadow in Summer. So we'll look forward to, over the next 3 months, reading these other novels. A Betrayal in Winter we'll read in July. An Autumn War, we'll read that in August, and then The Price of Spring we'll be reading in September. I really enjoyed the first book. I'll be talking about it on my wrap-up video, which I'll probably put out next weekend. But this is a book series that has been on the TBR for quite some time for both John and I, and we're finally getting to it. But as a bonus, we reached out to Alan from the Library of Alexandria because Alan is a huge fan of this series. He's been kind of the driving force behind a lot of people discovering this series over a number of years. And we reached out to him to do some discussion videos, and he's actually rereading with us, so I'm really excited for that. We'll probably do 2 videos for this. We'll probably do one at the halfway point and then one at the very end. Discussions with John and Alan, one on my channel, one on John's channel most likely, so look for those. But I really enjoyed the first book, and I'm looking forward to reading these works of Daniel Abraham in the next quarter. And the third buddy read is with Joanna. We're reading The Talisman by Stephen King and Peter Straub. Now this is technically a reread for me, but I read this so long ago, like 25 years I'm guessing, and I don't remember a lot of it. I remember a lot of Black House, and I really like that. That's the sequel that they co-wrote together. I've been reading a lot of the Dark Tower novels that are tangential to the main series over the past 5 or 6 years. And I wanted to reread these for that reason, because I do want to do a reread of the Dark Tower series. But also I saw that King is writing a 3rd book in this series that's probably going to be out next year. So it seemed like the perfect time to reread these 2 books. And Joanna's never read The Talisman, so hopefully we both enjoy it and we'll have a discussion about it. But we're going to read that together in September. So the next 3 books are the 3 things that I'll be reading in the Sun Eater saga. I started Sun Eater back in October. I've been reading one thing per month, a novella, a short story collection, or one of the main novels. And up this quarter is kind of the last 3 things that are currently published. And that is, I'll be reading Tales of the Sun Eater, Volume 3 in July. I'll be reading The Dregs of Empire, the novella, in August. Although, can you call something that's over 300 pages a novella? Let's just call it a novel. And then the final novel, Disquiet Gods, which I'll be putting out in September. And then there's going to be 2 more releases in that series this year. Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 4 will be out. And then the final book, Shadows Upon Time, is being released in November. So I kind of timed my reads of Sun Eater really well. This great science fiction series that is destined to become one of my top 10 favorites of all science fiction by the time I get to the end of it. So the last 2 books in the definite category of this reading plans video are 2 books that I'll be reading and doing video vlogs. And the first is Midnight Tides by Stephen Erickson. This is the 5th book of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, and you may be asking, wait, I think I saw this on a previous TBR video. You did. I was going to read this in March, but I was reading at the same time Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn by Tad Williams, and To Green Angel Tower is like the biggest fantasy book ever, and I was reading that in March, and I just didn't want to do 2 huge epic fantasies at the same time. So I kicked Midnight Tides to the summer, and I'm going to be reading this. It'll be my 2nd book that I do read in July. Really looking forward to it, filming a vlog for that as well, and reaching just kind of the midpoint of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. The other book that I'll be reading and doing a video vlog is, I'm going to do this first thing in August, and this is going to be Changes by Jim Butcher. This is the 12th book in the Dresden Files series. I had been told by a few, or asked by a few viewers to maybe do a video vlog or at least record some of my reactions to the things in this book, because this is a monumental book from everything I've been told about Dresden Files. The name of the book, I think, is indicative of what happens in the series, that there are a lot of changes that happen in this book. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I've enjoyed my time Dresden, especially from the 7th book through the 11th book, and just really look forward to reading Changes and seeing what all the hype is about this book. All right, on to the probablys, starting with my current audiobook. I say current, I just started it. I've listened to about 20 minutes of it, and that is Go Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin. I've been interested in this since I read Native Son a couple years ago, and I saw some interviews with Baldwin and was just intrigued by his works, and there's a few of his books that I'd like to read. And this seemed like a good entry point. So I picked up the audiobook and just started listening to it. So I look forward to reading this one. I read about an audiobook a month, so I'm pretty confident, even though this is in the probably category, that I will finish it in the next quarter. So I always have a work of short fiction going on, a short story collection or novella collection, and the one that I'm reading now, which I'll definitely finish in the 3rd quarter, if I don't finish at the end of the 2nd quarter, is Broken by Dawn Winslow. I've read 4 of the 6 novellas as I'm filming this, so I'm pretty much near the end of it, and I'm really enjoying this. Some of them are linked a little bit, but these are really great reads. I'm really liking the kind of the different writing style that Winslow's using for the different novellas. This was sent to me by a viewer, so Alex, thank you for sending me this book. It was on my Amazon wish list, and he sent it to me a while back, so I've been really enjoying this. So that's something that will definitely happen, even though this is in the probably category. Next 2 books, more Dawn Winslow. I reread The Power of the Dog in June, and it blew me away. It was even better than I remembered, and I want to continue the sequels to that. Became known as the Cartel Trilogy. The 2nd book is called The Cartel. The 3rd book is called The Border. I'm looking forward to reading those this quarter. I was blown away just by the detail in Power of the Dog. It was so detailed, it almost felt like nonfiction, but it also felt like incredible world building because of these details. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm just looking forward to exploring more works of Dawn Winslow. You can tell by the 3 in this category that he is kind of a priority author for me right now, so I look forward to reading more of his works this year and next year. And the last book in the probably category is another one that one of you sent from my Amazon wish list. So thank you, Christopher Navo. He sent me Master of White Storm by Janny Wirtz a while back, and I'm looking forward to reading this one. I have read this author. I've read 5 books from this author. I've read the 3 books of the Empire trilogy. I read her debut novel, Sorcerer's Legacy, and I read her short fiction collection in December. And I've really enjoyed this author, and I'm looking forward to reading this fantasy standalone. Gotta love fantasy standalones. There need to be more of those. I'm not sure if this is her 2nd book or if her Cycle of Fire trilogy was 2nd and then this was kind of 3rd, but it is an early work of this author. But my plan is to hopefully read that this quarter and then read to Ride Hell's Chasm in the 4th quarter of the year, another fantasy standalone. I don't have time right now to fit in her big series, The Wars of Light and Shadow, at least until I'm done with the Malazan Book of the Fallen, but I do look forward to reading Master of White Storm sometime in the 3rd quarter of the year. All right, on to the maybes. Let's start with what my next audiobook will be after I finish Go Tell It on the Mountain. And this is a work by Quincy Jones. I'm going to have to look at it, called, can't see, 12 Notes on Life and Creativity. Quincy Jones was a fabulous artist. I actually first heard the name Quincy Jones when I was listening to one of my favorite recordings of Frank Sinatra with the Count Basie Orchestra live at the Sands. At the end of that, Sinatra brings a young Quincy Jones out because he wrote all of the arrangements for the Basie Orchestra for that incredible recording. And I've been a fan of his ever since. He went through a lot of different phases in his creative life. And I always try to read something at the beginning of my school year to kind of get my own creative juices flowing. And this memoir by Quincy Jones just seems perfect to insert at the beginning of the school year. So that'll be my next audio listen after Go Tell It on the Mountain. My next short story collection is another one that I'll pretty much guaranteed that I'll finish in the third quarter of the year. And that is 4 Past Midnight by Stephen King. 4 Past Midnight has 4 novellas in it, so usually what I do is I read a novella or some short stories between my main novels, so this won't take very long, even though these novellas are all like 200 pages. These are kind of long novellas, Steve. But anyway, this is a reread from quite a long time ago. I remember the Langoliers very clearly, but I don't remember the other ones very well. So I'm looking forward to reading this and continuing my Stephen King short fiction project, which is the next read in that one. So the next 2 after that are 2 works of nonfiction, The Proud Tower and The Guns of August by Barbara Tuchman. Joanna sent me The Guns of August, thank you Joanna, from my wish list, and this is a book I've wanted to read for quite some time. It's a Pulitzer Prize winning work of nonfiction about World War I. I've read Tuchman before. I read her March of Folly about 12 years ago. And when I received Guns in August in the mail, I took a picture of it and texted a buddy of mine that's a big historian and was the one who introduced me to Tuchman when he told me The March of Folly is a really, really great book. And he said, hey, pick up The Proud Tower and read that first. He said they're very, very different from each other, but they pair very well. So I ordered it immediately, and I'll be reading both of these in the next quarter of the year. My last book on the maybe section is House of Open Wounds by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I've had this for over a year. I don't know why I haven't gotten to it yet. I really enjoyed the first book of this Tyrant Philosophers series, which there's 3 books now, and I think there's going to be 4 or 5 or something. I don't know, but House of Open Wounds has been staring at me from my TBR shelf. I don't know why I haven't gotten to it yet because I really want to read it. So I do hope that I get to it in the third quarter of the year. So hey, if you've read any of these books, let me know in the comment section below. Just please don't label spoilers. Don't give me any spoilers. I haven't read any of these yet. So let's talk spoiler-free in the comment section below. And I'd love to hear what your most anticipated read in the third quarter of the year is. Let me know that as well. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Twitter, Goodreads, and the Fireside Discord. I'd love to interact with you there. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.